time travel. Something thought up quite a while ago, with scientists like Albert Einstein saying not only that it's possible, but it's likely to happen, sooner or later. Many Hollywood actors are said to be involved in time travel projects. As you can see, the likeness of many people from the past is quite striking. Actors like Keanu Reeves, John Travolta, Johnny Depp, and even Nick Cage are said to be involved. Some musicians have also been said to be in on the whole time travel thing. Justin Timberlake and rapper Jay-Z, just to name a few. Is it even possible to time travel? Well, pull up a chair and relax, and let's look at the evidence as we go into the realm of the possible with the top 5 time travelers. Number 5. Andrew Carlson, the time traveler that disappeared. Did he go back to the future? In January of 2003, Andrew Carlson was arrested and detained for insider trading. Over a 2-week period, he had invested and made 129 very high-risk trades, resulting in $350 million in cold hard cash. You will be astonished to find out he did this with only $800 and some apparent knowledge of the future. When investigators questioned him while he was detained, trying to find out his sources of the alleged inside trading, he offered an alternative explanation for his knowledge of the stock market. He claimed to have traveled back in time from 2256, armed with knowledge of future stocks. Obviously, investigators didn't believe him. But then, shortly after his release on bail, he and the man that bailed him out were never seen again. Ever. Like, not ever. Number 4. The Busca Lady. Was the Busca Lady seen at JFK's assassination a time traveler? Many say yes. This lady was photographed taking photos from a viewpoint almost next to the presidential car at the very moment the shooting started. There has been all sorts of speculation about who she really was. The CIA and the FBI were unable to track her down after the events of that day, and the local police also had that same luck. She seemingly disappeared off the face of the earth after she was seen walking away from the scene of the crime on that November day in Dallas, Texas. Could she possibly have been sent back to that specific time to document the assassination? She was also said to have been using a digital camera not yet available to anyone because it wasn't invented yet. Believers always point to the fact that it seemed as if she was waiting for it to happen, and when it did, she was in the perfect spot for taking pictures. She didn't flinch while the shots were going off either, almost like she knew she wasn't going to be harmed. So was the Busca Lady a time traveler? You be the judge. Number 3. Henry Fonda and Shirley Temple checking an iPhone for directions in a 1948 film. Now this one I don't really have as much info on, but I do have the actual video, and as you will see, it's pretty evident they are checking some sort of device for directions. A device that has not yet been invented. Some say it's an iPhone. For that matter, it could be an Android. Does anybody really know? Let's settle on it was a smartphone. I will let you all be the judge.
How much farther to this passing pepper, whatever you call it, confounded thing? Ashiapa? Oh, shouldn't be long now. Once over the rise, round the bend, then along a piece. According to your schedule, we should have been there an hour ago. Mule Creek, Dead Man's Squaw, Schmidt's Wells, Hangman's Flat, or the Patch. Blast an ungrateful War Department that sends a man to a post out here.
Number 2. The case of Rudolph Finch. Rudolph Finch was a man in his early 30s who basically appeared out of nowhere acting very frantic. So frantic and all over the place that he walked out in front of a vehicle and was struck and killed in Times Square in New York City in mid-June of 1951. Now this is when it takes a turn to the bizarre. He was dressed in late 1800s clothing typical of that era, and in his pockets, police responding to the incident found a copper 5-cent token from an old saloon that current residents of New York didn't recognize. He had 2 receipts in his pockets, One was a type of old-style receipt for the care of a horse, and the other was a receipt from where he had a horse carriage washed from a place called a livery stable, a place that takes care of horses. He also had business cards on his person with the name Rudolph Finch on them and an address on 5th Avenue in New York dated from the 1870s, when he allegedly vanished into thin air. He also had approximately $70 in banknotes from the 19th century, which is the 1800s, and last but not least, he had a letter also found on him with his name, that same 5th Avenue address, and it was postmarked and delivered in June of 1876, which was when he disappeared. Oddly enough, all of these things were not aged in any shape, form, or fashion. Investigators then tried looking up the address on the man's business cards. They found a business card, but then they knew nothing of a man named Rudolph Finch. Investigators then looked for any records of this man and couldn't find any, eventually stumbling onto a Rudolph Finch Jr., his son. They then tried contacting him and found out through his wife he had died 5 years prior, but they also found out that his father had vanished without a trace way back in 1876, wearing the same clothes the man that appeared in Times Square had on. The case remains unsolved to this day. Number 1. John Titor. A man calling himself John Titor appeared on some online bulletin boards in 2000 and 2001. He claimed he was a time traveler from the year 2036 on a military mission. He made numerous predictions about the events after 2004, and he even predicted 9/11 successfully, often also describing his time machine. His first communication was on an online bulletin board. This is his exact post. Greetings, I am a time traveler from the year 2036. I am on my way home after getting an IBM 5100 computer system from the year 1975. My time machine is a stationary mass temporal displacement unit manufactured by General Electric. The unit is powered by 2 top-spin dual positive singularities that produce a standoff set Tipler sinusoid. I will be happy to post pictures of the unit. John went on to post several pictures of his so-called time machine. Many of his predictions came true, while a few did not, which he said this would happen because there is a divergence between world lines, meaning there would be differences between the world he came from and this one. Another thing that raised many eyebrows after he was long gone, because yes, he soon after disappeared, never to return, was the fact that what he had said about the IBM 5100 computer was not only very much true, but it was a very close and kept secret. At the time, no one knew what this John Titor character was saying except a very few people at IBM. They came out after the fact and said yes, there was an operating system and or computer called the 5100, and it could read any computer code. John said he needed this specific computer because after World War III, they had to restart over with everything, including computers, and the 5100 when it was needed to do so. The whole John Titor saga goes very deep, and I encourage you to check into it yourself if you're interested in this sort of thing. But here's a few predictions made by this supposed time traveler from 2036. He predicted YouTube, he predicted GMOs, he predicted there would be a short nuclear war, which we're currently on the verge of, but it hasn't yet happened. And as I said earlier, he predicted 9/11, saying the trade towers wouldn't be around much longer. He also said China and Russia would become close allies and China would grow into a superpower, which all of that has came true as well. Was John Titor really on a military mission from the year 2036? Are time travelers going back and forth through time? Again, I leave that up to you to decide, but this was the all-time top 5 time travelers. Drop a like to let me know you got all the way through the video, and don't forget to share this on your social media sites and subscribe to catch all of our videos. Thanks for tuning in to All Time Top 5s. Stay tuned here for our next Top 5 video coming very soon. Until next time, we are out.